welcome to the Joe Show, where we dive into the livestock industry from a kid's point of view. I'm your host, Joe Steen, and today we have an incredible episode lined up for you. Joining us is Sam Schmillen. Sam was Reserve Grand Champion Market Lamb at this year's Iowa State Fair 4-H show. However, that was not his first time on the Purple Chips. In today's conversation, we'll talk about the lamb industry, his career thus far, and the stories and lessons that have shaped Sam's journey. So let's settle in and dive into the lamb world with Sam Schmillen. Here we go. Tell us about yourself.
All right, sounds good. I'm a Sam Schmillen. I'm 18 years old. I'm from Marcus, Iowa. My parents are Kyle and Jill Schmillen, and I got two siblings. My sister, Brittany, who's in 7th grade, and my brother, who's in 6th grade, and they're 13 and 12. And some of my hobbies are obviously showing livestock all around the country and at state fair. I play basketball all year round, and I like to hunt and fish.
Tell me about how you did at the Iowa State Fair this year.
I did pretty good. I got reserve overall market lamb at the Iowa State Fair this year.
So, how many times have you won or gotten reserve at the Iowa State Fair?
I've exhibited at the Iowa State Fair 7 times, and I've had 7 grand or reserve banners. Dad and I were actually figuring this out the other day, and I've shown 20 market animals there, and 14 of them have gotten a piece of a division. I've also shown breeding ewes twice, and I've also won the breeding ewe show twice, and I've had 2 third overalls and a 5th overall in the market show.
Wow. So, does winning more than once feel different?
Oh yeah, it feels different. I think it varies from year to year. My first time when I won it, I was 11 years old, around your age, and I was like, "Wow, this is really cool." I just won the Iowa State Fair, but I also knew I had 7 more years of showing to keep trying. Now that I'm reaching towards the end of my career, it's a way different feeling just because knowing next year I'm done. Um, when I won in 2020, that was COVID year, so there was no crowds. It was just a big livestock show, and from a standpoint of like no, there not being a whole lot of stress, it was the most laid back state fair ever. It was so nice. And when 2021 came around, I had some injuries in basketball. My mom had some major health problems, and because of that, we only bought 4 head of sheep, but we all thought they were thoroughbreds. I remember going into the All Iowa Showdown, and I had a wether and a ewe that were high caliber, and most people were like, "Why are you bringing them here?" And we were like, "We got 2 more at home that are way better." And I ended up winning both the market and the breeding ewe deal at the All Iowa, and then a week later, I 2-holed the Iowa State Fair. So that was a big mix of emotions, just because getting the grand and reserve at the state fair, nobody's leading up to that point. Nobody's ever done that in any species. So for me being the first, that meant a lot to me, and it was just full of emotion and just.
Yeah, that's incredible. So, can you describe your emotions when you got reserve at the State Fair 4-H show this year?
Yeah, I'd say this was one of the deepest and toughest state fairs in a long time. There are so many good families and so many high quality animals and exhibitors, and this one really hit hard. At the end of the day, as I close out my show career, we are extremely blessed to have worked with so many good people and awesome breeders from across the country, and we are a super competitive family. But with each win, we are humbled because of how tough this game has gotten.
So, how did you celebrate your wins?
We usually have a couple hours after every show where we kind of soak it in and kind of just take in what we just did. But, that next day after the market show, my brother and sister both had ewe lambs they were showing. So once we kind of soaked in and had celebrated our win, we got to work and we were getting our ewe lambs ready for the next day. But my sister was actually showing a market goat later that week. So me and Hayden Schroeder jumped in the truck and we drove home and clipped the goat off. And then we went and played around 27 holes of golf that night. Depends on the perspective of who you ask, but I might have won that day.
So, what was the most memorable part of your Iowa State Fair experience beyond just winning?
Just being around my family, my grandma, all my aunts and all my uncles and just all my cousins, like my family's, they're big supporters and they support me in everything in the sheep industry. So they do a great job. They bring grandma down who lives right down the road on the farm by the sheep. So she watches us out there every day working our animals and watch how competitive and how hard we work every day for that goal. So she's like into it just as much as we are. So just having our whole family being there with us and just having them celebrate and giving us hugs and stuff after, and just seeing how emotional they are and how emotional we are, just they know what it feels like to win. And all my dad's siblings, they showed sheep too, so they know what it's like. And grandma was a part of getting this whole sheep showing started. So that's just the best part,
Mm.
besides winning, is just being around my whole family and just being able to celebrate that win with them.
Oh yeah. So, like, what challenges did you face during your preparation this year, and how did you overcome them?
I would say the biggest challenge every year is just getting out and trying to find those next champions. As a family, we put on a ton of miles every year and just try to find the right kind that we need to be feeding. At the Iowa State Fair, we have a judge for 2 years in a row every year. So we at least know half the time what kind of quality and what parts and pieces we need to look for in our sheep to get for the show. But let alone just trying to find the elite ones, it's also hard getting them bought. Everyone's going after that sheep. So like, it's a two-part deal: get finding them and then trying to get them bought.
Mm. So, where do you normally get your lambs from?
We get our sheep all over the country. Like I said earlier, we travel around the whole country just trying to find the good ones. We try to hit up as many breeders as possible and just trying to find the right sheep. I mean, if you met me, I'm 6'7", so finding sheep for
Wow.
me and finding sheep that fit me in the way I show is hard. So we got to go to just that many more breeders places just to try to find that type of sheep that is going to hit that judge, but also fit me in a way that I can present him.
Yeah. So, you've had success outside the Iowa State Fair too. Tell us more about that.
I was fortunate enough to hit the national scene prior to the year that I started showing at the Iowa State Fair. In 2017, when I was 11 years old, I was reserve champion at the North American International Livestock Exposition in Louisville. And I have a much more of appreciation for the show now after showing there a few years after I got a piece of it, just because it's no easy task at all getting in the grand drive. I've been fortunate to have a couple of division winners here and there at the show, but trying to get into the grand drive is really hard. So just getting it right away off my first year and then like showing it years after and not having as much success as like made me appreciate what I was able to do.
Mm.
And then leading into 2018, I obviously won the state fair that year. Then I had a couple of sheep out in the Grand Drive at Exarban, and then at Kansas City, I had a couple of division winners as well. Then over my Christmas break, we went to Phoenix, Arizona for the Arizona National, and I was fortunate enough to win that one too when I was 11. And that's my favorite show. That show's awesome. It's nice weather. We're here in Iowa, and it's -5 degrees outside, and we go there, and it's 75 and sunny, and you can walk around in shorts and a tank top, and it's like a little getaway vacation. So it was very nice. And then we went into Louisville, and I had a couple class winners there, and just a class winner at Louisville is tough. So I was fortunate to get those as well. And then we went into Denver, and I had champion lightweight cross at Denver too, so I got to be out in the Grand Drive for that. And then I had third overall at Exarban that next year as well. So we still got a few more on our bucket list that we want to get that we haven't quite got done yet, but we've been very blessed and fortunate with what we have gotten done so far. So
Mm. So, how long have you been showing? Have you been showing other than State Fair, or is that the first time you've shown?
So I started showing when I was around 5 or 6 years old. We had the little Marcus Fair here at a little north of town, about 10 miles, where I wasn't old enough to show there yet, but I could do Pee Wee showmanship. And I was doing that when I could walk. So I've been showing my whole life. I think competitively, I think when I was around 9 or 10 years old, we'd go to a jackpot show every weekend. If there was a doubleheader on Saturday and a doubleheader on Sunday, we were going both days. I think we were talking about it about a few days ago as well. And I think the one summer we went to 25 or 30 jackpot shows in a season, and we did that for a couple of years in a row. And I think that's really given me a lot of experience before we started getting into like national shows and leading up to state fair as well, just because I had that experience and I had that showing background and I knew how to handle myself in the ring. And it also gave me opportunities to look up because I was young. So like as us young kids, we look up to the older kids. And I would look up to so many people who were doing good and being successful in the sheep business, and I would look and study them. and I would watch what they did, how they acted, and what they did in certain situations. So I think that ultimately helped me as a showman, just knowing because everyone gets in different situations. But I think that just taught me what to do if something happens and how to react to it and not freak out and face adversity.
Mhm.
So I think that really helped shape my showing career and my showmanship before leading up to national shows and state fair.
Are you looking to take your showing to the next level? Look no further than Lewis Genetics Show Pigs. At Lewis Genetics, they specialize in top tier show pigs that stand out in the ring and excel in performance with that winning edge you need. With their pigs, you're not just investing in livestock, you're investing in their future victories. Visit lewisgenetics.com and make your next show season a winning one. Lewis Genetics, where champions are born and bred. So, on my show, I like to play a game called Would You Rather. I know you're really into basketball as well, so
Yep.
this one might be hard. So, would you rather be drafted into the NBA or win every national lamb show through your entire showing career?
Oh man, you start off with a hard one right away. mm, I would probably have to go with being drafted in the NBA. I think that's something I've also worked for my whole life, and my goal since I can remember has been to play college ball. And there's been so many Halloweens where I've dressed up as NBA players just because I want to be like them. And I think ultimately that's probably as hard of a choice that is. I would probably pick I'd rather be drafted in the NBA, but I've kind of came to reality that that's not going to happen. So I would still take winning every national show.
Mhm. So, what got you interested in showing lambs and how did you get started?
Um, just like we raise and show sheep, like we raise and sell sheep all over the country as well. So from a young kid before I even could show, I remember going with dad to sales down in Indiana and out in Oklahoma and down to Texas. So I was with my dad a lot, and actually both my parents, we'd always take sheep down there and we'd show them and then sell them that sale day as well to people, and just getting to interact with so many people. And sometimes he'd let me go out there during the sale day and show one up on the block, and it was just kind of got me jump started. And I've been around sheep my whole life, so it's just a second nature to me, and it was something that I loved doing from an early age, and it's just transitioned smoothly over as I've grown over the years. So that's really what got me started.
Yeah, okay. What showmanship techniques do you think set you apart from the other competitors?
Yeah, I mean, I'm not sure there's a certain technique, but if you haven't met me, I'm 6'7", so showing sheep has been a constant change for me since around the age of 13. Every sheep is different, so I feel like we try to analyze each one and figure out how I need to show them to make it look its best and presented the best. Sometimes I'll get down and squat with them, and sometimes I'll stay up and power drive them. But I think what sets us apart is the amount of time we spend out in the yard studying the different angles that sheep can be viewed from. Just because, like I said, I'm 6'7", so I gotta either show them this way or show them this way to show this part that's really good about them off. So like we just are always constantly changing stuff just to make that sheet the best as presentable as possible.
So, how do you manage your nerves before entering the ring?
Music. Like I'm a sports guy, so I'm always jamming the music before pregame to basketball game. So usually I'm always listening to music before I go in the ring. Then also I'll help carve out legs and kind of get the sheep all ready and fit it up. So that way kind of just keeps me busy and distracted. So that way I don't have time to think about what I'm going to be doing in 20 minutes and showing my animal. I'm able to just focus on now and kind of keep my nerves at ease.
Mhm. So, what music do you listen
uh I mean, I'm a rap guy. I mean, during basketball games, I'm always listening to rap, so I always play a little bit of rap, but kind of keep it appropriate just because you're at a sheep show. But then I usually switch over to country after a while.
to? Mhm. So, what trends are you seeing in the world of showing lambs?
So when I first started showing lambs, they needed a big handle, they didn't have plenty of muscle, and they just had to look good enough from the side. And I feel like we have evolved to the point where handle isn't as much of a factor, but they better look seamless from the side, and they better be athletic when they get out and move. And they need to have enough muscle without being coarse in their makeup. And in presenting sheep now compared to 7, 10 years ago is so different. Now we're spending 4 or 5 hours in the barn every day doing legs, so that way they have big steer legs on them when we jog them in the ring. And it's just the way the sheep presented as a whole has changed a ton from, like I said, 7 to 10 years ago till now. So yeah, I mean, the trends of the sheep showing world have changed drastically.
Yeah, like the same thing with showing pigs. It's way different from like 10 years ago. Yeah. So I show pigs and
Yep.
the amount of time in the barn you have to spend, brushing them, getting their skin and hair white and all that.
Yep.
It's way different from what you had to do when my dad showed it. But yeah, what's next for Sam?
Um, when they say life goes fast and it's like in the blink of an eye, my parents told me that when I was younger, and I kind of just laughed at them. I said it. I don't start that over, please.
Yeah.
My parents always told me when I was younger, time flies, so don't take anything for granted. And I kind of just laughed at them just because I was young and I didn't really understood what it meant. But now that I'm 18 and I'm coming to the end of my showing career, they I don't want to admit it, but they were right. It goes by fast. So like I just try to take in everything that I can. But I have one more year of 4-H at the showing at the state fair. Then I'll head off to college. Right now I've been talking to quite a few colleges about playing basketball for them and a handful of livestock judging colleges as well. Um, it's a tough decision, and like my parents have been supportive through me, but someone told me in the sale of champions, they said I have my whole life to judge, but I only have 4 more years to play basketball. And that made a lot of sense in my head. And I could see myself taking advantage of that opportunity and probably playing basketball at the next level. It's something like I've worked hard for my whole life. And the last thing I want to do is when I'm older, look back on it and regret it and be like, man, I wish I did that. So that's one thing I'll probably consider going and doing. But once college is done, I plan on coming back to my family farm with an ag degree and get involved with my family show operation. Um, I want to be the next generation that kind of keeps this Schmillen show lambs thing going, and I want to be able to have my kids show sheep and show livestock, and have their kids and be able to watch my grandchildren show livestock. So I want to keep that kind of tradition going. My two younger siblings will be done showing by the time I graduate. So it might be that'll be a really good opportunity for me to kind of get our raising show lamb business going and right in the right direction and kind of getting that jump started.
Oh yeah. Thank you so much for being a part of my podcast today.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
Have a good night and I'll talk to you soon.
Yep, you too. Thank you.
Yep. Thank you.